Year is 1911, and 16-year-old Grace has the same hopes and dreams as any other bride for a future built on love, commitment, and family. But she also knows that a life of ranching on the prairies of South Dakota that she loves so much comes with a very hefty price. Thus, the story of Meadowlark, a novel written by New Mexico author Dawn Wink, begins. We are fortunate enough to have Dawn with us this morning to discuss this book. Dawn, thank you so much for coming in. I mean, the setup sounds absolutely fantastic. And you know, I'm a fan of Westerns. I've always been a fan of Westerns, so it sounds like right up my alley. So tell me, first of all, what inspired you to write this book?
This book came about from family stories that I had heard. It's very roughly based on my great-grandmother, Grace. And I had heard stories about her as I was growing up. She was a young bride on the prairies in the ranch that's still in our family. And then all of a sudden, as an adult, there were a couple of stories that I was thinking about, and I thought, wait a minute. And I asked my mom a question, and she didn't know the answer. And so I wrote a book to find out.
No kidding. Wow, that's really great. Well, now, you know, one thing, of course, being in New Mexico, and I come from movies and TV, I know the landscape of New Mexico always plays a big role in the narrative, of course. Breaking Bad, I mean, it might as well have had its own character line. Same deal with this book. The Plains of South Dakota play a huge role in this. They are a character in the book.
They're a primary character. And this novel takes place on the prairie of western South Dakota, very near where they filmed Dances with Wolves. So if you're familiar with that, it's about 10 miles away, that landscape. And the landscape of the prairie has to be a primary character. And so Grace, when she, it's ultimately the story of a woman creating beauty in a life that doesn't inherently hold a lot. And so much of that is her turning to the land, and the land reflective of her spirit, but also her gaining strength from both the beauty and the harshness of the prairie.
Wow, so really it's kind of a coming-of-age story as well, but utilizing that. And, you know, I mean, that also really follows in the great tradition of, you know, I keep harking back to Westerns, forgive me.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But, I mean, that really is the case. A good Western, the
here.
landscape is always a character in that. You know, they play a huge role. Now, you said that this was based on sort of a question into your past and your family history. So I got to ask you, how much of it is fact, how much of it is fiction? Is that something you want to reveal?
Yeah, I would say almost all of it is fact. Some that my great-grandmother experienced, some that I experienced, some that other family members experienced. And I did about, 3 or 4 years of just intensive research into this time period, and read lots of, journals and lots of letters. And so somebody experienced it at some point in time. Now, whether that that time might span 100 years.
Sure. Wow, that's great. Well, I know you're a busy lady. This is not the only book that you have written. You have authored other books as well. So tell us about some of the other works that you've done.
So, Teaching Passionately, What's Love Got to Do with It? I actually co-wrote with my mother, Joan Wink. And when I'm not writing, I'm teaching. And so this is a look at the role that we both feel is primary in teaching in What's Love Got to Do with It. And so looking at historically, theoretically, and what teachers can bring to the classroom in addition to content, but that sense of caring and spirit as well.
Wow, that's great. Well, I know you're traveling a lot. We're lucky that we've got you now. You're going to be in Tucson in about a week and a half or so at the Tucson Festival of Books. Is that right?
Yes, at the Tucson Festival of Books, and I think I am there set up on Saturday about noon in the Authors Pavilion, and then I'm speaking a couple of different times, so I would love to connect with anybody who happens to be there.
Well, how can people pick up a copy of this today?
Bookworks here in Albuquerque, Collected Works in Santa Fe, and it's also available online.
Okay, and of course we will have links to Dawn's website at dawnwink.com, as you see on your screen, at casa.com under the Style tab. Thank you for coming in. Thanks for writing this book.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.